Very good morning to you all. I am Sathana Vaikunthavasan, Senior Lecturer attached with the Department of Marketing, University of Jaffna. Today I am going to talk about networking for SMEs. The way forward of my presentations, definition of SME, problems, network relationship, and what need to be reached. First one, the definitions. There are no standard definitions for SMEs in international practice, but the countries, they are using them different criteria. The number of employees, annual turnover, annual sales, investment in plant, investment in equipment, total assets. These are the basic criteria which was used overall different types of organizations. The European Union and international organizations, as the maybe World Bank, United Nations, and World Trade Organization, they have created the definition based on the number of employees. It is a mandatory, and 2 financial criteria as a choice. Let's look at the World Bank standard. They have categorized the SMEs as 3: micro, small, and medium enterprises. They have defined the SMEs based on the number of employees and total assets or total sales. According to the definition, the SMEs must have at least 299 employees. That means below than 300 employees and below than $15 million. It is important to under the total assets or total annual sales. So this is the definitions given by the World Bank. Then next one, we can see the different types of nations, they are having different employee level for their SME definitions. We can observe here the Canada and United States. 499 employees at the maximum level. This is the maximum level. But in the case of other countries, mostly they are using 249 and 199. But when we observe the New Zealand, it's 99 employees they have accommodated for the SMEs. Then we can move towards the Sri Lankan age. Ministry of Industry and Commerce and Department of Census and Statistics, they have defined differently these definitions. There are 2 sectors for the definitions. First, table 3 shows the manufacturing sector. First one, it's based on the annual turnover and number of employees. There must be minimum, or maybe minimum and maximum level. Maximum 750 million annual turnover, it is a criteria, and 300 employees maximum number of employees for manufacturing sector. But in the case of service sector, there must be maximum amount 700 million rupees and number of employees 200 employees. So this is the definition which was given by Ministry of Industry and Commerce. But in the case of the Department of Census and Statistics, we can observe 3 types of sectors: industry, construction, trade, and service. This definition is based on the number of employees. According to that, industry and commerce, constructions, they have maximum 200 employees. That means below 199. Then in the case of trade, below than 35 employees, and service organization below than 75 employees. This is the important definitions for Sri Lankan nature. Then when we observe the importance of SME, it plays a prominent role for the growth and development of all nations. In the case of Sri Lanka, SMEs also play a crucial role for the growth and development of Sri Lanka. They have contributed to GDP, they create employment, and contributed to value added. Then in this table shows from 1983 to 2008, but what was the trend regarding the employment and value added? Here we can see in 1983, 98% of SMEs is accounted. Then 48.6% total employment and 31% value added was produced by SMEs. But in 2008, 93% of SMEs, they produced 29.6 employment and 20.3 value added. It clearly shows there's a drop in the level of SMEs from 98% to 93%, 5% drop. Then in the case of employment level, 48% is dropped to 29.6%. So further, regarding the value added, 31% is moved to 20.3 value added. So this results or the data clearly shows there was huge problems and challenges at the time of 1983 to 2008 for SMEs. Then, in the case of Northern Province, more than 99% of enterprises are under SME sector. The GDP contribution of Northern Province, it's below than 5% from 2010 up to 2017. This is the nature. Then, in the case of the SME, they are facing huge problems. It may be the marketing. Why we have the marketing problem? It means the entrepreneurs, they have started their business based on the raw materials. They didn't observe what is the market opportunities in the environment. Then otherwise they started their business based on the family. It may be from family businesses. Or otherwise, departments and industry, they are giving training for them. So that's why they started and conducted the business. They failed to identify the market opportunity. They didn't have any market research regarding the product and services. Then finance, if the organization, they are not successfully conducted their business, they cannot earn more profit, they cannot develop their business. So they are, in other cases, labor, they are mostly, they are temporary based. So they require more salaries, but they haven't given, they are not desired to get it EP and EPF and ETF. So here, high number of employee turnover can be observed for SMEs. Then technology issues, in the case of technology issues, mostly the manual-based productions, otherwise even some of the technologies are outdated. So this is the situations of SMEs in Sri Lanka. Business rules and regulations. When we observe, when the SMEs start their business, they approach and control and imposed by rules and regulations. Then up to every stages of the SMEs, they are facing different rules and regulations. This creates more barriers to SMEs. Competitive nature is from local, national, international. Quality competitors, they are creating more issues to SMEs. Infrastructure development, it's very important for, particularly for rural side SMEs. They are facing huge problem regarding road development, electricity power, or in the case of that may be telecommunication service. So this is a major problems for SMEs in Northern Province. Another important thing, there was 3-decade war. It's created more problems to small, micro, and even medium types of enterprise. Most of the micro businesses, they left from the business. Most of the small businesses, they had a business for a particular time. They get some failures, problems, and challenges. At last, they also left from the business. But some of the medium types enterprise, they face challenges. So they are surviving up to now. In the case of 2019, last year, we faced different types of the problems due by bomb blast. Here in this year, 2020, we have, it may be problem regarding the coronavirus. So this crisis environment makes SME towards the drop down. Another case is network relationship. As we know, networking means firm link to different types of the stakeholders. So this stakeholder-based relation, that link, it must be created as a relationship. Relationship means strong tie among the stakeholders. These networks may be personal contact networks, social network, trade and business network. This network may be diverse. It can be diversely grow. The actors can be changed. The shape and sizes can be changed. So when the organization grow, complexity also grow. The networking getting more important to all organizations. SMEs, particularly SMEs, they want to apply proactive and passive networking according to the problems they have. Then list the problem. First one, they right to approach what about the network links they must have perfectly. This networking may be continuously, occasionally, frequently, infrequently. So it's very important to define which one is must be continuously conducted link, occasionally link, and frequent link, and infrequent link. SME owners, they want to decide according to the pace, problems and issues they have. Then another important thing under the network relationship, social networks for SMEs. This is web-based because as we concern Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, these types of social web-based technologies nowadays growing concern and contributing to the organization for their success. In other cases, this is a model which was created by myself to give some implications for SMEs. First one, intensive network relationship with 5 types of actors: customer, supplier, competitor, and employees. There must be intensive, that may be extensive network relationship with them. Then strong tie, there must be a strong tie among these networks. The customer, it may be potential customer or normal customer. Or supplier, it may be potential or normal supplier. But in the case of the competitors, we must have a link and tie, relationship tie with the competitors. It may be local or national or international. It may be in home or outside of the home. Then trade associations, business unions, they must be very strength. Then diasporas, that may be from different foreign countries doing same businesses. They are very interested to contributed to our SME enterprise. Then business colleagues and friends, they are doing same businesses. They must have very intensive and strong level of networking. Then distributors, wholesaler, retailer, agents, logistics and transportations. It's very important to have the distributions to create a smooth supply chain. Then employees, they are very important. It may be the permanent or the temporary. They must have very important tie with the firms. It must be considered by this model. Then another thing, the business model was created, the networking with government institutions. As we know, the innovative service departments and information service department and supervisory service department. Furthermore, these departments are related with the ministries. Ministry of Industry and Commerce, the Finance, Science and Technology, Skill Development and Vocational Training, Rural Economic Affairs, Central Bank. These types of institutions, they have no dominant level, but they must have some level, but not dominant, because if one SMS they want to register their business, once they visit, after that they haven't, but that is very important one, important link, but it cannot continuously having any content. So another one, intermediary institution. It may be technology intermediaries or technology market or industrial association. Industry to industry link. Venture capital, it's very important. So these different types of service providers in Sri Lanka. Yes, Chamber, NEDA, EDP, IDP, this. But they are having only no dominant level of networking, but it's very important networking for the SMEs. Then research institutions, university, technical college, CLIAD, research centers, specific development goals. They are having some research work themselves. It's very important to have the link with the SMEs. Another important case, social networks. The social networks, it is an effective and cheap tool, but it must be wisely applied to SMEs. So here, even advertisement taking more cost for normal micro producers or SMEs, they cannot survive or they cannot sustain these advertisement expenses. So, but the social networking creates a platform to communicate and power to influence. They inform their businesses in that may be a new product or services on the Facebook. Then they have share their experience. It's a type of the word of mouth. It's create power to influence on the purchase of customer. This is extensive level, but medium, not strong, but medium level. Sometimes it can be effective or ineffective. So this is the case of the model which was introduced for the SMEs. If you can see, we have heard about the national policy framework. They have created 6 policy concepts, which is very important. Enabling environment, first thing, it's very important to create environment, positive environment to all SMEs to start and conduct and continue their business. Access to technology, it is also very important. New technology equipments and practices must be adapted to the SMEs. And entrepreneur skill and culture development. Skill, they must be given more skills. It may be training, it may be any development activities. Then access to finance, as we know, increasing taxes, decreasing interest rates, these types of interaction, the activities regarding the finance and market facilitation, it's very important. All the from infrastructure to all the type of the activities must be clearly defined and implemented by these market facilitations. And research and development is an important sector, important aspect of SMEs to do some assistances, inventions regarding the rural-based production. So any different types of the production and services. In other cases, the different ministries are assigned to these national policies. Enabling environment, it can be possible by only industry and commerce. Ministry of modern technology, it was instructed by the Ministry of Science and Technology. So entrepreneurial culture and development, it is a skill development and vocational training center ministry. And access to finance, central banks takes more responsibility to access the finance for SMEs. Market facilitation, it is a Ministry of Industry and Commerce, chambers, EDP and department of commerce. They are conducting different types of the activities and implementing procedure. So here policy dissemination process, it can be seen there are 5 levels: national level, provincial level, districts, DS division, ultimately GN divisions. Ministries, public, national level chambers, they have policy making. But implementation part, it goes to the hand of the provincial government and provincial associations. Provincial government, they have planned how these policies must be implemented. Then divisional secretariat and district regional chambers, they want to define different goals and milestones to achieve. These trade associations and cooperative societies, they create what are the activities they have done. Then Gramanadadari, they have directly approaching and interacting with the SM. Then another one, this is the at last important, need to be reached. What need to be reached? Then first one, the definition. Ministry of Commerce, they have categorized as the two. Raid is not included, but the census department, they have created based on the 3 types, but employee, based on the employee level only. So it must be important. In the case of India, they have created an act, Macro, Small, Medium Development Act. Based on the act, they have created a definition. This is commonly used definition in India. But here, in the case of Sri Lanka, we have in common act for SME, or we have a common definition for SME. It's essential to create these law and SME definitions for this Sri Lankan nature. In categorizations, different nations, they have created different categorization based on their nature. But here in Sri Lanka, we have a perfect categorization. The number of employees databases. All the important SMEs, they must get approval from the divisional secretariat or local area, governmental areas. So, but there are no databases. We cannot get it any databases perfectly. It can be followed by researchers or any other institution. We haven't any databases. Then implementations of policies, it is in the hand of the every stages, from national to district to every. It can be observed is SMA development activities spread to different sides of the institution, not scope to one institution. So all the people, they are doing some extent only. If this SMA development given to one particular sector or particular ministry, it will be effective. Then central bank report, we haven't any separate chapter to the SME, but it's very needful to create SME development chapter on the central bank report. Then collaboration of SMEs, universities and research institutions. It's very important in the case of the policy making or any types of the activities, particularly entrepreneurship education, which was given by different universities, even the different types of the researches, the university, research institution, these types of collaboration is essential. It must be created properly. Then government, here it's a developing country and crisis environment we are facing. We are having huge marketing problem. Government, they want to consider this nature of northern province. Here, employees, they are doing very riskful businesses. It must be created as a riskless. The government, they want to bring these businesses very smoothly. And SIMO supply chain also very important to get it more sales and reduce the delays of productions and service. So here we can see observed SMEs getting more important, but they are facing huge problems and challenges. It's very important to create network relationship for all SMEs. The gap between one that may be institutions or link or tie creates more problems to SMEs. So this is very important in the case of here.